So let's talk about getting rich, not in a vague buy a lottery ticket kind of way, but with an actual roadmap. Today, we're breaking down exactly what financial targets you should be aiming for at every major stage of your life. Let's get right into it. You know that classic advice, don't compare yourself to others? Well, we're going to throw that right out the window for a minute. Our starting point today is this pretty bold idea. Life is a competition, and you're rewarded for the effort you put in. It's a little intense for sure, but it really sets the stage for a no-fluff look at what it actually takes to build wealth. All right, let's start at the very beginning, the starting line, ages 18 to 24. Honestly, what you do right here in these few years can set the entire trajectory for the rest of your financial life. No pressure, right? Okay, so let's look at the numbers from the Federal Reserve because they tell a pretty interesting story. The median net worth for this age group is just over 8 grand. But to be considered rich, and we're defining that as being in the top 20%, you need to be aiming for closer to 35,000. Now, that gap might look huge, but it's totally achievable if you start off with the right game plan. So, how do you actually get there? It really all comes down to building solid habits early on. The absolute first thing, your financial seatbelt, is an emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of your expenses. At the same time, you've got to steer clear of bad debt, like a plague. We're talking high-interest credit card debt that just eats you alive. You should get a credit card to build your credit score, but you have to treat it like a debit card. Pay it off in full every single month. And maybe the most important thing, invest in yourself, your skills, your education. That's your biggest asset. And finally, just start learning about the stock market. You don't have to be Warren Buffett, just start getting comfortable with the language. Okay, so you've built the foundation. Now we're moving into what we're calling the acceleration phase from ages 25 to 29. This is where you stop building the car and you really start to put your foot on the gas. And whoa, check this out. This is fascinating and kind of scary. The median net worth actually drops in this age group, down to around $7,500. That tells you a lot of people are making some serious financial oopsies in their early 20s. But at the same time, the rich target nearly doubles to almost $60,000. The gap is getting wider, which means this is a super critical time to get your stuff together. So the goals in this phase get a lot bigger, a lot more ambitious. First off, that emergency fund, you're going to level it up to a full year of expenses. Then it's time to go to war with your student loans or any other bad debt. A huge benchmark here is getting your credit score up to 750 or higher. But look at these next two, they are massive. You have to shift your focus to earning more money, while at the same time, you're consistently investing 10 to 15% of everything you make. And all of this leads to that huge life milestone, finally cutting the financial cord and being completely independent from your parents. And this brings us to a really, really important question. I mean, with all this talk about saving and paying down debt, it's so easy to get tunnel vision. But are you actually focusing your energy on the thing that's going to make the biggest difference? And boom, there it is. This is the big trap so many people fall into. Look, saving is absolutely essential. You have to do it. But there's a limit to how much you can save, right? Your real secret weapon for building wealth, especially when you're young, is your ability to increase your income. That's the lever you can pull that has an almost unlimited upside. Okay, let's talk about your 30s. This is the decade where all those good habits from your 20s really start to pay off. The magic of compounding starts to kick in, and you begin building a serious financial foundation for the rest of your life. And you can literally see that compounding effect right here in the numbers. The median net worth jumps up to over 45 grand, but the rich target? Wow, it skyrockets to over $230,000. The numbers are getting real now. The goals for your 30s shift toward building major, life-changing assets. Your new savings target is now 4 years of expenses, and you want that money in liquid invested assets, not just sitting in a savings account. This is also the decade where you should be seriously thinking about buying a home. And to really put things into overdrive, you need to max out your tax-advantaged retirement accounts. We're talking your 401k at work, a Roth IRA on your own, while also bumping your overall investment rate to a steady 20% of your income. All right, now we are entering your peak earning years, the 40s. This is where all the hard work, the career moves, the consistent investing, it should all be coming together in a really big way. Just take a second and look at these numbers. The median net worth is now almost $146,000. But the target for the top 20%, it's a massive $831,000. That right there is what a couple of decades of smart,
consistent financial decisions can build. It's incredible.
The goals here are all about locking in your future. You should be aiming for at least 10 years of expenses saved up. A huge, huge milestone is paying off that mortgage completely. Imagine that feeling. You should also be in a place where you can kick your investment rate up to 30% of your income. And for all you entrepreneurs out there, this is when you start thinking about your exit strategy to cash in on all the value you've created. I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that, from a target of just under 60 grand in your late 20s to over 830,000 in your 40s. It is not a slow, steady climb. It's an exponential curve, and it's powered by earning more, saving consistently, and letting your money work for you over time. And now, we've made it to the home stretch, your 50s and beyond. The game changes here. The focus isn't so much on aggressive growth anymore. It's about preservation, security, and thinking about your legacy. At this point, the median net worth is over $182,000. But the rich target, it officially crosses the $1 million mark at over $1.2 million. And let's be real, if you followed the plan, by now your money should be doing most of the heavy lifting for you through that sweet, sweet compound growth. So what are the final goals? Well, the big one is having 25 years worth of your expenses saved up. That's the classic 25X rule for being financially independent. You also want to be completely debt-free, which gives you just an incredible amount of peace of mind. And from there, it's about getting your house in order, literally. That means having a will in place and getting life insurance to make sure your family is protected. It's all about locking in that security for yourself and for the next generation. You know, the biggest takeaway from this whole roadmap is actually pretty simple. Building wealth isn't about some secret trick or getting lucky. It really is like the slide says. Your financial future is built brick by brick on the decisions you make today. Every dollar you invest, every new skill you learn, that is what directly builds the future we just walked through. And that's really what it all comes down to. We've laid out the targets, we've laid out the steps for every single age. The entire plan is right here. So, the only question left to ask is, what's the very first step you're going to take?